Good morning, good afternoon. This would be 3.6 point slope form day 2. We are going to continue working with point slope form. Yesterday we worked with creating an equation in point slope form given 2 points. Again, point slope form means you need a point in the slope. So we can take either one and use the point, but we need to take both of them and find the slope. So my y's are going to be subtracted on top. So -6 minus 2 becomes a -8. And then on the bottom we have our x's. So 3 minus a negative becomes 3 plus 1. 3 minus a -1, which becomes 3 plus 1 equals 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. There's one negative, so it's a negative. So -8 divided by 4 is a -2. Okay, then we're going to place, let's find it different, this number right here. And then we're going to choose any point, either this point or this point. I chose this point. So my -6 goes here, it turns to plus. My 3 goes here. My equation is written with that x minus the x point. So if my x coordinate is positive, it stays x minus 3. I then wrote it here with the other point. So the -2 still goes here, but with this point, x minus a -1 becomes plus, and then y minus 2. All right, so today we're going to be graphing equations written in point slope form. Again, this is a little review with the y stays y, we get minus, and then we're going to pull that y point, or the y coordinate, from the ordered pair. We're going to place it here. M is the slope. Have to remember that it's y minus y over x minus x. If it's from a graph, it's rise over run, or we could also say it's the change of the y over the change of the x. The x, it stays x. It's also the input. And then x sub 1, that means it's just the x ordered pair, or x coordinate from the ordered pair. Okay, again, here is another example. If we're given the slope, we put the slope right here. Then we have y plus 9, because we have a minus 9 here. That turns to plus. Then we have x minus whatever the x is, which is 3. This would be, we could write this as y minus a negative, but we want to change it to plus because it's minus a negative. All right, so let's do a few, first, the directions. Graphing point slope form, again, here is your point slope form. Y minus the y point coordinate equals m, or the slope, times the quantity x minus the x point. Here again, this here, this x goes here, this y goes here. If it's adding, you have to remember that it's actually negative. So you're going to graph that the given ordered pair from here, and then you're going to move from that point, don't forget that point, according to the slope. So you're going to go from the top is going to be your rise, it's going to be up or down. If it's a positive, you go up. If it's negative, you go down. And then your bottom is your run. You're going to go to the right from that point. And you're going to connect with a line, array, or a segment depending on the problem. For word problems, which are usually positive only, or if it's only going to go in one direction, you're going to go up and have one arrow. If it's just graphing, you're going to have those both arrows at both ends. And then you could also use a segment depending on the problem. Okay, graphing. Let's get this out of here. So here we have y minus 3 equals 1/2 times the quantity x plus 4. So the first thing we want to pull out of there is our ordered pair. Okay, my ordered pair is going to be the x right here, remember if it's adding, it's actually negative. So it's a -4. If we have y minus, whatever the point is, goes in my y. So I'm going to plot that first point. So on here, we have our origin right here. Remember, with an ordered pair, you have to go, the first one is going to the left or to the right. So from this origin, I'm going to go to the left, -4, and up to 3, and I'm going to plot that point right here. Okay, and then I'm going to use my slope of 1/2. Because it's a positive, my first one, I'm going to go up 1, and the bottom means I'm going to go to the right 2. So from here I go up 1, over to the right 2. I could continue going up 1, over 2, and continuously find points on the line. But to draw a line, I only need those 2 points. So I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to create 2 arrows. It's not a very straight line. Make sure you use a straight edge when you are creating the line. Okay. The next one. So here we're going to pull or identify our point. So our x, if we have x plus 3, again it's -3. And our 4, because it's y minus 4, it just stays 4. This is minus. So that's where I'm going to go first. -3, so -3, 1, 2, 3, and up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You start at the origin when you're plotting a point, then you go from this point and you use the slope. So I have a -2 thirds. That means I'm going to go down because it's -2, and I'm going to go to the right 3. So down 1, 2, right 3, 1, 2, 3. Put a point. I could continue going down 1, 2, over 3, 1, 2, 3. Plot a point. Now this right here again is your y-intercept. It's where your line crosses your y-axis. This would be your x-intercept, where your line crosses your x-axis. And you don't want to forget to connect them a little better than I did with the straight edge. Connect the points, and that is your line of this equation. Okay, over here, our x, because we have x minus 1, would just be 1. And because we have y plus 2, it would be a -2. So I'm going to go from my origin, my first number,
Good morning.
This first point, to plot it, you go to the right 1, and since the second number is negative, I go down 2. Remember, you have to go in the elevator before you can go up or down it. Okay, there's my first point, and I'm going to use 4. Let's start over here. 4 is my slope. So if I have a whole number, it's always over 1. Top number is positive, so I go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I go to the right 1. So there would be my other point. And I'm going to connect them with a line. All right, let's see. Now, highlighter. When we have a word problem and you're given a table, a few things you have to remember. The first one is your x, if it's not labeled. Second one is your y. It only gives you a table, it gives you 2 points, so you can find the slope. So we're going to, the cost of making spirit buttons is shown in the table. Write an equation in point slope form to represent the cost y of making x buttons. So we, remember, need a point and the slope to write an equation in point slope form. So we're going to find the rate of change, or the slope. So for the change in the y, it's 10. From 25 to 35, I'm adding 10. That's where this comes in, right here, 10. And then from 100 to 150, I'm adding 50. So that's where this 50 comes in. I have 10 over 50 as my slope. I can reduce it down to 1/5. That goes here. Then we can choose either one of the points, either 125 or 150/35. We chose 125. The x minus the x point, and then y minus the y point. So y minus 25. You're going to plot that point on your graph, and then you're going to use the slope and find another point. Now, when you're creating your graph, you're going to want to choose numbers that you want to go by. Well, the cost, or your x is 100, this is your y. I mess up. This is your y. I'll go back one. So let's start with the brown I'm using, which is your y, the x, y. Oh yeah, I did do that right. So that's your cost. And if you see, your cost is going up by 25. So we're going to count by fives, 5, 10, 15, 20, all the way up to 50. And then my number of buttons is pretty high, 100. So I need to at least get to 100 here. So I'm going to count by 20, 40, 60, 80. If I counted by ones, it would be too small. Even tens would be too small. And 100 would be too big. You want the graph for you to be able to read the graph. Okay, then you're going to plot that point of over 100 and up to 25. So that is my first point that I graph, and then I'm going to go up 5 and over 10. Now here, up 1 over 5. That could also be simplified, or an equivalent equation would be 5 over 25. So if you go up 5, so from 25 to 30, that would be up 5, and I could go over 25. So 100 to 125 would be about right here. I could also go up 10 over 50. So up 10 over 50. That's why I got right in the middle of 140 and 160 would be 150. So this is your slope. And I could go up 10, so up 10 and over 50. These two you've already said are equivalent. So 1/5 is equivalent to 10 over 50. I can use either slope. Well, because I don't know, it's really hard to show up 1 over 5. Up 1 over 5, up 1 over 5. But your graph, because you have it by tens or fives, you can go up 10 easily and over 50 easily. Okay. You're going to skip that one. And your assignment, page 225, you need to graph for 1, 2, and 3, write the equations for 6, 7, and 8, graph for 19, 20, and then just do 24.